Does anybody have questions, or do you guys want me to just, or do you have?
You start.
How do you want to start? Okay. First, I want to say thank you for everyone being here. We really appreciate you guys. We appreciate the media. If it wasn't for you guys, we would not have a voice. We would not be able to tell our story. So I appreciate you. The family appreciates you. And we hope that you continue following this story because this is just the beginning.
Can you introduce everybody and say and spell everyone's name?
So I will have everyone
Okay.
introduce because I can't spell everybody's name. Ophelia Markarian, Ofelia Markarian. I'm the attorney representing family.
My name is Ranika Pate, Raneka Pate. I'm Kentre's mom.
Ron Pate, or Pate, P-A-T-E. I'm the grandfather and father of Ronica.
And I'm Corrine Murphy, Corrine, Murphy, Murphy. I'm also an attorney representing the family and Renika.
So we're here today to discuss the incident that occurred 2 weeks ago, where a 3-year-old child was shot and killed. The police were called to a hostage domestic violence situation. And at the end of that call, and at the end of that night, a 3-year-old child was dead. This is not another press conference. This is a scream for justice. And not just justice, but the truth. The family and the public has a right to know what happened. Because the story and the events that has been shown to the public by Metro has a lot of discrepancies. There is a lot of questions that are unanswered. And that is why we're here. Do you want to continue?
Our goal is to represent both Renika, but also our goal is to not just represent Renika, who has her own damages and went through what can only be every parent's worst nightmare, where she witnessed her young child be shot and killed. But it is also to be here for Kentre and to get answers for Kentre, to find out the truth for Kentre, and to make people who did not do the right thing answer for what they did. And we are going to aggressively pursue and investigate this case because that's what Kentre deserves. Earlier, we were discussing the fact that the family is having the celebration of life tomorrow, and that they were not really able to put forth a real obituary for Kentre because he was only 3 when he was killed. So he had not had an opportunity to create a life yet outside of the very loving embrace of both his parents. And that is a shame. Everyone has the right to pursue their life, to make their own life, and that this life was ripped from this very young man at this age, it's just horrific. And we want answers on his behalf as well.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here today basically to be my son's voice because his life was cut short. It's not fair because he's beautiful. He had so much to live for. It didn't even get a chance to show it or show people. But the short amount of time that he was here, and everybody who he came across felt that, and his energy and his presence was felt through the people who was around him and the people who weren't even in his life, but
No mother should have to go through this.
It sucks because every time I talk about it, I just see his beautiful smile, his beautiful face. And he's like, no, Mom, keep going. You're strong, keep going. And he's only 3 to tell me that. And that was in life. So to hear it in my head now, and I really do have to be strong because I am his voice, because I am the only one standing. It's hard to talk about. And the narrative that's being put out there was not our lives, not even as close to our lives. So it just sucks that I have to fight for his justice and our personal life, like our livelihoods, our lifestyle. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm lost. I watched my heart be ripped out of my chest and stomped on. So I'm not okay, but the only reason why I'm here is because he's telling me I have to be. Because I don't know where I would be. Every day doesn't feel real. Oh man, words can't explain. It sucks. It sucks. And that's all I can keep saying is it sucks. And what's even more painful is that I wasn't beaten or battered or abused. That wasn't our life. So to be judged off of one night, and then some people actually live that every day, is even more horrible because I never even got to experience that. That wasn't me. That wasn't our lives. So that wasn't his life. He didn't know that. So for people to talk down, it sucks. It just sucks. Oh, it sucks.
You want to answer any questions?
You were saying that the story that was told wasn't, or that was portrayed wasn't exactly like what you might have thought happened. Do you mind going into more detail about that?
I called for help. And when the help got there, they disregarded the situation. They disregarded the update. They came there with intent to do something that shouldn't have never happened. And I only say that because of how everything was handled, how everything happened, and how I was treated, and how my family was treated first on the scene. So it just sucks. It just sucks that the people we're supposed to put our lives in, like the people whose hands we're supposed to put our lives in, they didn't do their job. And I felt like I shouldn't even called in the first place because I was held hostage, locked in the back of a police car, and watched them execute my son's dad and my son without warrant. There was no negotiations. There was no talking. It was just bullets.
Is there anything you would like to say to Metro?
Nothing nice.
Yeah, at
Yeah, I
this
would
time, we're
not
gonna
say-
let the law, we're gonna let the law speak for her.
In the body cam footage, like as someone who didn't like hear what Metro put out, you obviously like hear like a gunshot, like, and I think they said that it was the man who did it. Is that something that you guys are looking into?
just to be clear, the man was the father of the child, so it's a little hard for her to hear this. But yes, that's absolutely something that we're looking into. We intend to fully investigate, obtain all investigative materials, because we want to put together the dialogue of the story of what actually happened. Renika, unfortunately, was literally trapped in the back of a police car and witnessed the entire thing. So it's her own firsthand view of what occurred that we are saying, like, hey, what Metro is saying does not comport with what she witnessed firsthand. And so it's our job as attorneys to now go out and get all the investigative materials we can so that we can fully flesh this out.
And that includes body cam footage, 911 calls, all of the officers that were at the scene, investigating officers, everybody that was involved. Coroner's office, the hospital, medical records, ballistics. Every single piece of evidence is extremely important to piece this whole story together. But the story that is being portrayed out to the media and to the public is not the complete and true story.
What is the complete and true story then?
Well, let's just say this. You guys knew my son passed away before I did. And I watched. I seen it. I seen everything. And what they decided to put out was damage control. What it seemed like. What it was. But there will be proof. We'll prove that.
We're gonna go get all the materials. We are going, once we have all the materials, then we're gonna put out a full statement about exactly what happened. We do have the eyewitness testimony of our client about what she observed that day. Beyond that, we're not really gonna comment on that at this time. Metro has put out their statement, we don't agree with it, and we're gonna do the diligence and footwork so that we can put out a full narrative of what actually happened based on irrefutable evidence.
Well, do you think the police killed your son?
Absolutely.
There was no thinking.
Well, the police rather pointedly said that the boy's father came out and said that he was going to kill police officers. And
No,
He
that's
never
not
said
what. That's
that.
not.
Hold on one
And
sorry.
that truth will come out. That's not what was said. The truth will come out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody will get that. They were called to help,
But,
not to
just
kill hostages. If they want to say my grandson was a hostage, fine. Last time I checked, you don't kill hostages. SWAT was on scene. Where was the negotiation? There was a demand made. Everybody's seen it. What the police put out, what they put out in their press conference, they answered with bullets. Not one. It wasn't a shootout. They were not in danger. They were in control, and they chose. Do not. Let me rephrase it. You better really think your situation through before you dial 911 when you have to deal with Metro Police. That's my opinion because of facts that happened to my family. You better make a good judgment because to protect and serve in that matter was a joke. They killed an innocent 3-year-old child. No matter which way you cut it, they participated. Last time I heard, that makes them guilty.
Do you think there should have been just de-escalation or something like that?
There was nothing.
Well, what did you see when you were in the back of the car?
We're not gonna talk about that right now.
Did Metro give you a chance to see the body cam footage?
Yes.
Yeah, and what?
Not all of the footage, just selective footage that they chose to piece together. But even that footage still does not.
Match what they're putting out.
Man, what were you going to say about the footage?
No, we're not gonna talk about the footage, we're not gonna make her relive the night right now for you guys. We're here to talk about how we're gonna go forward in the case, and we're gonna let the law speak on behalf of Renika and on behalf of Kentre. We are not gonna have her do a dialogue of what happened that night. It's 2 weeks since this happened, and I understand that everyone wants to know what her position is. She will have she will at some point in time give her entire story, but 2 weeks out from her child dying, it's a little too soon, and we want to obtain all the evidence too.
And you talk about that investigation, I know it's in the early stages right now, but piecing all that together, what does it look like, I guess, once a lawsuit is filed? Can you give us a picture into that?
Certainly, once the lawsuit is filed, we, Metro will give us everything. Although they have put out statements that, on their narrative of what occurred, which that's what, they're entitled to do, and they have their own free speech. But what is going to happen is that we will file a lawsuit, and then in discovery, they will hand over all the materials. Because Metro itself is actually going through an internal investigation right now. That's what happens on all deadly force cases. They have put together what's called a CIRT, which is the Critical Incident Review Team. And that team right now is collecting every evidence. And then once we file the lawsuit, everything that they have, we're going to be getting that as well. So every single body cam footage, all the body cam footage, likely the footage from Renika in the back of the squad car that night, everything else that they have collected, we will
Ballistics.
yeah, ballistics. They'll hand that all over, and that is part of the normal litigation process.
You mentioned it. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What do we want to come out of this? What is justice? What is the result that we're looking for?
Well, I think what we're looking for is
Accountability.
Accountability.
number one.
Accountability absolutely is the first thing we're looking for, and for first Renika and her family to be able to put together all the materials and say, this is exactly what happened that night, not based on what I saw, not based on what somebody else saw, but based on the objective evidence of what all the body cams showed. Once we're able to put that together, then it's to seek justice for the family, and that has to do with accountability. That has to do with the things that the law says that we're able to pursue. Unfortunately, we cannot bring back Kentre, we cannot bring back Mr. Baker, but we can and we will seek fully what we are able to seek under the law.
And so there's no complaint or
There's no complaint drafted at this time. Or sorry, no complaint filed at this time.
do you know what you'll be suing for?
What do you mean?
What
Claims?
causes of action will be?
Well, the causes of action, it'll be a wrongful death action, it'll be a 1983 action. Those will be basically the claims that we'll be suing under.
And you had mentioned an update that Metro ignored. What was the update?
We're not going to comment on that. I don't know.
That's
what
a
it
pretty
is.
good piece of information that she let out there. I'd like to know what the update was. Like, it sounds like that would have changed things.
An update.
What the update?
You said Metro ignored an update.
Yeah, because
What was the update?
what they came there for what was the original call that prompted them to even come was a domestic disturbance. That was that. As the situation escalated and they actually got there, I came out and let them know what had changed from the last time, like from whatever they were
From the
told
call?
over the phone. Exactly. What actually transpired. It was drastic, and they ignored it. I can't speak on it because all the body cameras will show it, but yeah, no.
They arrived to a hostage situation, and they did not appropriately handle that situation. There was a 3-year-old child involved, and everything that night should have been done to protect Kentre.
Are you saying that by the time the police got there that something had de-escalated?
Okay, we're not gonna make her, what I said before was we're not gonna make her relive that night right now. So we're not gonna field any more questions about that night specifically.
When can we expect you to file this?
We will likely file, there are some legal steps we need to do. We're working through the probate process right now. We need to set her up as the administrator of the estate. It's a legal position that she needs to be able to step into, that the court grants, that she has her own causes of action, but also allows her legally to step into the shoes of her son, and that needs to be set up in order for us to file the lawsuit properly. Does anyone have any other questions?
I guess my last question would just be, what would you want people to sit with tonight when they hear this, see this? What is it that you want to be on the front of their mind?
There's more to what's being said, and all we want is the truth. All we want is transparency. All we want is for all of our questions to be answered.
Yeah, basically what she just said, because my baby didn't deserve that, and how he was treated during and after the fact, and still being treated horrible. I just want people to sit back and actually look at the bigger picture. He was a baby. He had nothing to do with what happened that night. Things shouldn't have ended how they did. But that wasn't nobody's fault besides the people we called, because they had all rights and standing when they showed up and stepped in.
I also think the family wants everyone to know that this was a loving family and this was a precious little boy, and I know that that's what Renika wants people to know tonight when they think about this case, that this was her family and that she's obviously devastated by the loss, but this was a wonderful little boy as well.
And the story that's going around is not our lives. It wasn't even a smidgen of our lives. So it just sucks because now I have to fight for something that's not true. It is so hard because the people I'm fighting against can say whatever they want and be believable. So I'm fighting extra hard.
This is a situation that can happen to anyone. We all have families. We all have conflicts. We all have disputes. But that is why we also have law enforcement and police to be there to protect and be there to keep people safe, especially a 3-year-old child. This was not any other type of situation. There was a 3-year-old baby involved.
So you don't believe that the father was the one who fired?
We're not going to answer specific, we're not going to make her relive what occurred that night. We're going to collect the evidence through the legal process and then we'll present them.
And
Ballistics
then,
will say everything.
And then with the father, did he have any like mental illnesses or
No.
was he going through any?
There were never any other domestic calls. This was a singular event, an outlier in this family's life. And it is shocking that it ended this way.
Came out of nowhere. Nobody was prepared. This wasn't expected. Everything was normal until it wasn't. Literally a blink of an eye. So, like I said, for the picture to be painted like this was our everyday life, it sucks. So I'm not fighting just for justice. It's like I'm fighting for my life, literally. Literally, I'm fighting for my life. And I'm fighting 10 times harder because I have people who weren't even got to see into my life that have the most to say based off of lies. So what was done in the dark that night is going to come to light. And that's all I can say because so much was done. So much. So.
Are there any other questions?
You mentioned there that it changed quick. Can you tell us a little bit about what
Can we
initiated
not-
that call?
Yeah,
No more questions
It was
about
a
that.
domestic dispute. There's
No,
there's
that's
no
it.
dispute about that. Beyond that, we just don't want to. I am fully impressed by Renika. I don't think I could have. I mean, I'm 49 and I've been practicing law for almost 20 years. If I had gone through what she went through 2 weeks ago, I don't think I'd be standing here and walking and talking the way that she is. We want to be respectful of the fact that she's here to speak for her son, Kentre. But beyond that, we don't want to have her answer specific questions about that night. It's just a little too soon and a little too painful. But like I said, we will absolutely use the legal process to vet everything that happened, get all the available evidence, and then let the lawsuit speak for both Renika and Kentre.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, then let us close, talk a little bit about Kentre.
Oh, yeah.
Who is he, what is he like?
Can you do it? Because I'm like, I'm about to pass out.
Kentre was special. I know everybody says that. Everybody says that. I believe all children are beautiful, and each one is unique and special in their own way. So in his own way, for a grandfather that has 7 grandchildren, 9 children, I coached for 18 years. This kid was articulate. At 3 years old, knew scientific names of sea creatures, was counting, reading colors at 1 and 2 years old, and he had muscles in his legs. If anybody knew this child or seen him, because he did not walk. He went from crawling, standing to running. I used to make a joke. I'd know when he was in the house because they would sound like 3 kids every time he ran. It was no walking. It was literal pitter-patters. He ran everywhere. He ran so much. He had muscles. He was fearless, always smiling. He would climb high and jump. He would jump in any pool, any water. You had to watch him because he
Fearless.
loved the ocean. Fearless. He loved the water. And the way he swam, he ran. And we know we don't run underwater, but his feet would go so fast, it worked. So he built a new swimming technique of running. He
wasn't
ran
offered.
fast enough to where his head stayed above water, and it would propel him to where he has to go. He was a beautiful child. He has family that's very athletic. He's from a very athletic family, and that's one thing that we all said in agreement and loud was like, this one is going to do something special and do something great. And he was tracking that way. He was a shining light for our family, and definitely he was going to be one of the names that we can hold up on a pedestal and have pictures on the wall with signatures and autographs. He was headed down a very special path that was cut for any family, for any child. It's not supposed to be like this. It's not. We're not supposed to be here right now. I'll give you everything I have right now, and what I don't, to reverse this, and we all go back to our regular lives and give me back my baby boy. I'll give you everything. We don't need to be here right now.
Are there any other like Metro OIS situations that you guys are looking at and, like taking note of or referencing for this case?
I mean, yes and no, right? So there are obviously, whenever there's an officer-involved shooting, we know that Metro does a full investigation. And we're not here to say that the police don't have a very difficult job. And there absolutely are times where an officer-involved shooting they do everything by the book, they do everything the way they're supposed to do it, and still someone will be shot and killed or shot and injured. But that's not the case every single time. So are we looking at other officer-involved shootings? Of course we are. I'm familiar with other officer-involved shootings, and part of that is my knowledge of what the LVMPD policies are, what the process they go through following an officer-involved shooting, and we're proceeding from there. Did that answer your question?
Thank you, guys.
Thank
No
you
more
all very
questions,
much.
please. Thank you.
Is it done?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Can you guys not, please? Thank you.